Hi, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Welcome to our regular live session that we have every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, where we take your questions live about U.S. immigration on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. I'm sorry. For some reason, we don't do that anymore. But YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. I think there might be one more in there. Is YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, I think it's those. No X either because they have some sort of system we got to do. We take your questions live, not intended for individual legal guidance, just general information about what's going on in the process. We avoid answering questions about timeline, as regulars know. Who knows with how timeline? The government's not reliable, and so I don't want to give unreliable information. But we're here live taking your questions again. If you're interested in a marriage green card case, download our guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You're going to find some good info there, 70 plus pages. And people leave reviews all the time for us saying how it should help them and all that kind of stuff. So we're happy to support you in that way. And if you want to schedule a private consultation, go to jqqlaw.com/contact. Amirali says hi to you too. And when you go to jklaw.com/contact, fill it in really quick what's going on there. And then we could jump and give you information on what the next steps are. Probably schedule a consultation. Or if it's a kind of case that we don't do, we just say we don't do that kind of case. We can help you out. But I'm talking ahead here, take questions. As Amir asked, my question is, if someone applies for asylum, can they also apply for labor? Well, the major issue with that is you're probably not going to maintain your status, the green card or visa status, until the EB2 or EB3 perm case or the employment-based case becomes current. And, there's arguments to say when you have an asylum case pending that keeps you in status in some form or fashion, especially if you file for asylum within the validity period of the previous visa that you had. But most USCIS offices deny it. Some randomly approve it. We argue it. Usually doesn't work, but sometimes it does. So it's an inconsistency that eventually there's going to be a lawsuit on that's going to go to the Supreme Court. But people aren't really suing on it. So right now it's just no man's land, essentially. Shahir asks, if USCIS rejects your expedite request, do you request on the same case to check or luck again? Yeah, you could give it a shot. I've done that before. Or, I mean, if you reject it once, the second time around, go contact the senator or something like that. Get some other secondary way to do it. Asa says, my wife is in the process in USCIS, 8 months for appointment at the embassy. What do you recommend to do to speed the process? We have a daughter. Honestly, I don't have recommendations on expedites because everyone wants an expedite and very few people are getting them, especially the embassy. It's very hard. I'm guessing you're Pakistan. That's a terrible one over there. Unless there's a real big emergency that's life-threatening, most likely it's just not going to happen. Pestent says, hi, please have received my approval from NBC, but it's been over 4 months, no reply. Interview date, how long should I wait? There's no wait line. That's the big issue we're coming out with. And questions about timelines popping again, different versions of asking, but we got no control over that. What's the process of returning after deportation? Well, you got to see it when you have a case or something like that. So I don't know. It depends on your background if you have some sort of exception. Alone Beauty asks, if I apply for a B1, B2 visa for medical treatment, and there's no other question, so I'm much you have to finish up the question. He says, I understand. Thank you for your time. You're welcome, Isa and Jay. I know it sucks. The answer I said just sucks, but that's just what we're seeing. It's just very hard to get anything moving. Tika says, how long does it take for a permanent visa for adopted baby from Nigeria to USA? I don't know about the adoption. We're going to do adoption. Getting an interview in Nigeria is very hard and time consuming. Maybe they'll make an exception for the baby. I haven't done that case, so I can't say for sure. Honey Drop says, I went for my citizenship interview since last year, August. I'm still waiting. What do I do? You can't, I got to see what the issue is. It might be severe issues where it's like you're out of luck. But potentially, you contact USCIS, get a congressperson involved, maybe even filing a lawsuit. Alone Beauty follows up. Is it okay if B1, B2 visa for treatment for medical? There's a specific B1, B2 visa that's intended for medical, but you have to, is it okay? I'm not sure what you mean. Is it okay? You apply for medical B1, B2, or if you're here in the medical treatments, you got to make sure you pay for them. At the border, they may hassle if you think you lied or something like that. So your question is kind of vaguely questioned, and I need more, direct kind of stuff, but it's up to the government whether it's okay at the end of the day. I don't have control over that. Hina says, it's been 8 months since my husband didn't get his work permit. Sorry to contact the USCIS, see what's going on, but timelines are inconsistent. How much money do I need to invest to move to US? Depends what country you're from. You can do a small investment, E2, and get a visa to run your business. Or you can do a larger investment, $850,000, $1 million, and potentially get a green card. That's that. Mako says, approved for asylum a year ago. Should I submit green card medical exam or not? Yeah, it's been a year since you got asylum. Why not if your case is good? Marl says, any news on movements for October visa bulletin? I mean, you'll know the news right when I do. Wait for the visa bulletin to come out in the next couple of days. Sam says, how long does it take for I-130 petition for parents? Probably 12 months. You're welcome, Hina. Haji says, how long does it take to receive a receipt notice? A week. A lot of these questions, honestly, don't ask questions, please, about how long this or that, because I don't. It's just so different every time, and it doesn't really help people in a substantial way because it doesn't really make difference what I say, how long it takes. Let's see. Gift enhanced. I was told to wait on I-360 to be approved before filing I-485. Is that a good recommendation? I don't know your individual case to say if it's good or not. You might have a weak I-360 case, so filing for adjustment might be a waste of money. I don't know. So I got to see what's going on. Can you travel on advanced parole? Well, it's intended for advanced parole. You can travel on it, but whether you'll be able to return, that depends on your case and your background. Alone Beauty writes, DS160, she writes B1, B2. Actually, is coming to do a treatment here, US. It just depends. Alone Beauty, you got to see what's going on and what they ask at the interview and what kind of treatment it is. So that's very individual, case specific for the reason what's going on there. ABC said E2 investment amount required. I'm not sure what the question means. There's an investment that's required. The amount, it depends on what the business is and how much investment that it needs. Patrick says, I sent my marriage-based green card package a month ago and still no receipt. Is that normal? There's no normal in immigration. Maybe it is normal. Maybe they messed up and lost it. So you should have been done by now. I've had cases take a month and then have it, until you get a receipt. I haven't submitted your case. I don't know if you sent it the right place or not. So I can't really say it was normal or not because I haven't submitted the case. Super Friendly says, special process for U.S. military veterans marrying foreign nationals in the U.S. seeking asylum. U.S. military veterans marrying foreign nationals in the U.S. seeking asylum. I'm not sure there's a special process, but if they're in the United States already, if they didn't enter with permission, you apply for parole in place, military parole in place, and then do adjustment of status properly. But Super Friendly Nerd, if you are active duty military service, email me with proof and then we give free consultations to active duty military members. So just send me that. Alone Beauty, the last question I could take on this, but she don't write the form because she's like, does that make effect? I don't know. That goes into giving individual legal guidance. As I said, this is something you should schedule a private consultation with, and then we can take from there. But it gets getting too. I'm not sure if she filed or did not file. Why she's hiding the information? What kind of thing she's doing? We can't hide information from the government. We can't lie. So I want to avoid giving an impression that that's possible. But if it's just coming here to see people and maybe get some what is this called? Get these lines out of the way. That's not here. Nothing here or there. But if it's like a hardcore medical and then they're not going to pay for it, that could be a problem. Or if they asked, are you pregnant? And she said no, but she was pregnant, that could be misrepresentation. So it depends. Senga's fiance visa or marriage, which one is best? Well, it depends on which one's best for you. So the answer doesn't, I'll give you an answer, but it's not appropriate for you. But almost every time marriage green cards are better than fiance visas, but there are rare exceptions with fiance visas better. There's children, minor children involved. Maybe 18 or 19, for example. Maybe like you can't get married for some reason, or you like to have a wedding in the US. Or you just met each other yesterday, and so it's like you may do a fiance visa. Maybe rare instances, but almost always marriage is better. But download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Sir, how long does it take the BIA to give a decision? It just depends on how long it takes to get to it. And unfortunately, Majahal, the inappropriate thing by asking your question a gazillion times. So I'm going to have to mute you so you don't fill up our questions anymore. Please don't ask the same question 10 times. Especially back to back. It's kind of like a root procedure when news live. It's hard to keep track. Okay, K1 process fast. No, nothing's fast in immigration. Patch says, I sent my marriage. Answer that question already. Mallory says, I applied for citizenship 2 weeks ago now. Will I get a notice soon? You should. Unfortunate J1 to I-130, maybe. Unfortunate, ask question 50 times. I-130 is not something you change to. It's I-485. So fortunate, schedule a private consultation. Fella says, can A2 visa holder get marriage just status? Yes, you'll need to submit an extra paperwork to remove your diplomatic immunity, but that's doable. Please schedule a consultation. jqklaw.com/contact. We do these cases. Legal group says, under a bona fide marriage, is it appropriate to move forward with the green card or wait? I don't know if you have a good case, you move forward. I'm not sure what's inappropriate about it, so it's just more needs to be done. Schedule a private consultation, jqklaw.com/contact. Simpa says, I have visit in Iran, no stamp on passport. Can I still travel the U.S. on ESTA? No, if you visit Iran, you can't, and you can't defraud the U.S. government, lie, and not say it. So you might as well get a tourist visa then, or apply for it at least. Hey, sir, how long does it take to get a work permit if you file for VAWA? 6 months, 18 months. Process J1 to I-130. A J1 is a status. I-130 is a petition. So there's no J1 to I-130. It's J1 to I-485. And I'm not sure if you have an appropriate adjustment of status claim or not. If you maintain status, if you're subject to your home residence requirement, if you meet any of the other criteria. So the process, it just depends on what's going on in your life. Sanga Collects says, thanks, you're welcome. Is fiance visa single entry? Yes, it is. Simpa says, I have to visit Iran. No, okay, answer that question already. How difficult is it to get more than 90 days on I-94? It depends on what you're doing. If you're a visa waiver program, it's impossible. You get additional 30 days in extreme circumstances. On tourist visas, you usually get 180. Depends on what kind of status you have, and it's up to CBP. So the question, the way it's framed, how difficult, it doesn't really make sense in this context. Okay, so Cravings asked, I was on deportation. Can I apply for the Keeping of Families Together program, I-131? Depends on your background. I haven't read the rules on people who are deportation who pro and play, so I can't say it at that time. How much is consultation? I'm seeing $1,000. No, consultation is not $1,000. Oluwari says, if your husband passed away, can you get married or get divorced? That's a family law question, but if you passed away, it doesn't make sense. Like, okay, your husband passed away, you get remarried. I'm not sure why you'd ask that question. It's kind of off. So schedule consultation. I need to know more. Okay. Let's see. Alperin says, I came 2 years ago. Can I start asylum? Usually you want to do your asylum case within 1 year. If it's more, you have to have a reason why you waited that long, but we don't do asylum, so can't comment on that. Manuel, hi, attorney. How long does it take to adjust that to I-360 VAWA approved? It takes a while. I don't do VAWA myself. Another attorney firm does, so I don't keep track of the timing. Pacifist, what's your prediction for coming visa bulletin? What do you think? I don't give predictions. I here to talk facts. And if I can't predict, or that's why people ask timeline questions. If I can't answer something that's hypothetical, I'm not going to answer it here. We're here about the facts. Okay, let's see what the questions are popping up. Steven says, do you have any videos about au pairs getting tourist visas after reporting going through it right now? Now videos, they just apply for tourist visas. That's about it. I mean, and then just this typical situations for people that apply for tourist visas. Sam says, is I-130 needed for K1? No, I-129F is used. If the fiance enters the U.S. and you do not get married within 90 days of the fiance's entry, then they're going to have to file an I-130. How long does it take to get, once you submit your application, get receipt notice? Usually a few days to a week, but sometimes it takes 4 weeks to 6 weeks. Nicole, how long is approved for I-130 taking these days? Depends on what kind of I-130 you're submitting. M says, at what point can CBP officers cause issues for LPR staying overseas over 6 months because of education? They could create problems whenever they want, even if you're out for 1 day. So CBP has authority to do whatever it wants to do, essentially. But typically, they don't ask you for 6 months. They may talk with you. They wait, but it's their discretion. They have discretion. User 9 says, any updates on the I-751? I just applied for my extension. No updates. It just take it forever. That's really it. Common reasons for I-485 to now. Okay, I-864 issues, marriage and divorce error records, civil document errors, birth certificate having problem, lack of bona fides, or they mistrust your relationship. Those are the big ones. Stephen, what is the waiting period for a tourist visa if you're already in the U.S.? Any difference? There's no waiting period for a tourist visa if you're already in the U.S. That's not clear what your question is asking. If you're already here, then you use a tourist visa. So your question needs to be more clear than that. Raj says, my fiance wants me to stay here, but I'm on tourist visa, but he's a U.S. citizen. What's your advice, attorney? I can't give you individual legal guidance. Generally, someone can stay and get married and file for adjustment of status. If you plan on getting married, download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Schedule a consult. The best thing to do to talk about it, jqqlaw.com/contact. That way I could advise you individually, but I can't just in public arena where I don't know anything about you tell you what to do. But those kind of facts, we do that stuff all the time. I just got to make sure your case is appropriate. Neva asks, hey, John, with over, how are you making sure you're being noticed and captured? That's strategy. Neva, this isn't really the place to ask sales kind of language. It's kind of inappropriate. Okay, so Anna says, how much evidence you normally need to provide for I-130 to prove the marriage is real? We use 2 lease agreements and marriage certificate, but some people seem to add crazy amount of stuff. Yeah, we do 10 times that. Why risk it and not give more? But you give what you can and see what happens. Jival says, if you did interview and evidence was requested, how long is approval response? There's no timeline for getting a response for a request for evidence. Do you do refugee family petition? Yeah, the I-730, we do those. Zalon says, which evidence you need for I-130? Your spouse is overseas. Just whatever you can get, pictures together, travel records, see each other, communication records, letters from family and friends, wedding information, wedding evidence, like cards and stuff like that. You might have joint financial accounts. You just we got to dig into your life and see what you got together. Elizabeth says, do you need your country's passport to apply for the I-751? If so, do you have to renew it if the passport expired? The I-751 doesn't need a passport, but it's always best to have a valid passport. It's just a wise thing to do. Roch Cruz, very answered. Please schedule a consultation. It's doable, but we got to see if your case is appropriate. jqqlaw.com/contact. Pacifist says, is it possible to get a tourist visa while I-130 is pending at embassy? It's possible, but it's up to discretion. Sam, thank you for the excellent live. Thank you, Sam. Nicole, I-130 for spouse in another country. Those are taking around, if you're a U.S. citizen, around 12 months. If you're a green card holder, 24 months. Common reason for I-45, we went through that. Roch asked her question a bunch again. I answered that. Otherwise, can I get married again if my spouse passed away? Generally, yes. Depends on the country you're living in and what their rules are. But if your spouse passed away, then you're single, you get married. Mesa says, how long does it take to get an immigrant spouse when you are? Mesa, do you need more information that? Steven says, already in the U.S. as an au pair, I want to change the tourist visa. What is the waiting period? 1 month to 20 months. I mean, it's crazy when you want to change the status. PIP is a joke. Save your money. Okay. Okay. Why? I mean, Gvoot says, when do you renew your work authorization? You have 180 days for expiration most of the time to do it. And it says, does adding unsolicited evidence after the I-130 filed affect the application negatively? Not necessarily, but we got to see what you're adding. So I can't say yes or no in a blanket statement because I don't know what evidence you're submitting. I haven't read it. So I can't say this is good or bad because you might be doing something that's terrible, like document. And I'm saying, yeah, go ahead. That's the reason why I can't give advice like individually here. But thanks for asking. I-130, I-45, I said it's success rate. I mean, we never had a denial, but success rate really depends on your case. So people a lot of times get analyzed, this percentage of cases are approved, this and that. Immigration doesn't necessarily work that way. Immigration is always based on your individual case. If you have good facts and good paperwork, then chance of approval is high. If you have bad stuff, then it's bad. So that's why you got to analyze it first, see what's a good case or not, and then take from there. And then you have high approval rates like I do. Raj says, I'm also 36 weeks pregnant, attorney. So how many days should we wait until we get married? Raj, schedule a private consultation. Congrats on the pregnancy. jqqlaw.com/contact. Let's have a talk about it. At the very least, download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. I am Just Album says, J1 waiver opinion. I don't know what the question is. So you got to ask the full question. And May says, I had an interview with the police department regarding simple assault. I was not arrested, had no charges filed. Is that interview considered foreign detention? Should I report in 400? I got to see what they were they detaining you or not? Like, were you free to go or not? So that's really, did they cuff you? Did you have to stay? Were you able to leave? We got to see what's going on there. Maybe contact the police department to confirm. M says, if I submit an I-130 my spouse overseas, if he comes here on H-1B, can we notify USCIS to process USA not through? Yeah, that's doable. I don't typically like to notify the NBC until after the green card is issued because the NBC could incorrectly delete or terminate your case by accident. I've seen that happen before. So we usually, in these kind of cases where you have H-1B and you come and you file for the green card adjustment of status, wait for it to be approved, then notify the NBC. NBC. Judith says, how long does it take to approve the I-360? I don't have a comment on that. How to withdraw an I-589? You write a letter to the agency. Black Mode said, if you're engaged, can you use a tourist visa to come to USA? Yeah, you can visit. It's out to the Customs Border Protection, the airport officers, whether they'll let you in, but it's possible. Hecky says, can you get advanced parole with misdemeanor arrest or fighting at 19? I wouldn't recommend traveling on advanced parole if you have any arrest history. Power says, is M400 application processing faster? Right now, yes. During election year citizenship, usually M400s are faster. We're getting interviews after 2 or 3 months, and then it slows down again after the election year. Avi, can someone file for asylum if asylum case already dismissed 2 years ago? It depends on your background, what the asylum issue is. If it was affirmative dismissal but not defensive in court, so it's not as open to shut that. J2 required waiver success rate. I don't keep track of people's success. The government doesn't keep track of this stuff, but if you have a good case, it's a good case. So don't think about success rates. See, it's like, is this a good case or not? And then make a decision to move forward. Destiny says, Mr. K-Hall as well. No questions today. I think just listening. Hi, Destiny. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thanks for coming on. The kind words. How much will it cost overall if you're for our processing? The government fee is $2,000 or $3,000. To do a medical, that's $500 to $1,000, $500,000. Attorney fees vary depending on what the situation is. That's why individual consultation is needed to see what's going on. We don't go into fees here. Attorney, my vow was approved in 5 months. Congrats. That's good. Jack says, how long OPLA will respond after submitting PD and NYC? I don't know. Ashley says, my husband overstayed his ESTA for us to marry. It's been 3.5 years. We have not adjusted. Did you file a case, Ashley, or just that you haven't decided to move forward yet? I want to bring someone for construction labor. What visa should I apply for other than H-1B, HB1, you say? I don't know. We got to see if there's need for H-2B or something. We don't handle those cases, though. Ashley says, well, make it difficult, likely to deny. Also, how much income do I need to sponsor him? So, Ashley, I think you're saying, the fact that you haven't filed yet itself, it doesn't matter. No, it's not difficult. How much sponsors needed depends on your family size and how much income you're making, this and that. Let's say you're single, just you and your spouse. Probably it's like there's a form. Go to I-864P. That's the website for the government. Look at the family size for two, depending on what state you're in and if you're active military or not. I think it's like 27,000 right now. But and if you don't have that, there's assets. But essentially, that's that. But typically, if people haven't filed the case yet, there's some issues going on that you haven't. And so, like, it's not the red flags, but it's like people who have a good case just file the case. If they don't, there's something going on. And when we dig deep, there's always something there. So hopefully that's not the case, but schedule a consultation, jqqlaw.com/contact. We can talk about it. Aslam says, I have 4-year experience as a plumber, but I have a national logistics cell diploma. I don't know if you can do anything with that. Mr. K. Hoball as well. Okay. How long does E360 signature petitions take? It's I360. I don't do those SIGIS cases, SIJS, not GS. I don't do those cases, so I don't know. And what would be the lawyer fee petitioning for spouse overseas? I don't talk about fees here because it varies. So I don't want to say one fee and then you come to us and say a different fee and it looks bad that we like lying or something like that. So schedule a consultation, jqqlaw.com/contact. Burrito says, why didn't you answer my question? I haven't seen any questions from you, Burrito. You probably didn't press send or something. Sanders says, I'm a U.S. citizen. Can I travel to Ohio? I don't know. What do you think? Simpa says, would you recommend hiring a lawyer for visitor visa? I live in Sweden, not eligible for ESTA. If you're not eligible for ESTA, yes, because that's not usually the case. So there must be something going on that you're not eligible for ESTA. You don't say you need to hire a lawyer for the case, but you should consult with a lawyer. Ashley says financials are the issue. So, okay, so then, I mean, you need affiliate support potentially, but yeah, I mean, there's always more to people's lives. So we got to get into it, but you know, the basics of the case are there. If you get married to a U.S. citizen, Khalif says this, while on a J1, can you leave J1 visa? Yes, but you got to be careful. If you're subject to a 2-year home residency requirement, it's an issue. But we do J1 marriage adjustment case all the time. We just submitted one like last month. It was actually subject to a 2-year home residency requirement. We got the waiver approved by Department of State. As soon as we got that email, we filed the adjustment status case. BBEC says, is it possible to use PWD of my company, which is being required by B2? Probably, but I don't do perm cases, so I don't want to advise on that. Kabu says, I submitted a document to NBC 1 month ago for my spouse. So I haven't got any response to NBC. You know, there's typically responding within a few weeks. Not sure why it's taking so long. Hamid says, can I travel Advanced Pro even if I cross the border? Yeah, Advanced Pro is intended to cross border come in. You could try. I don't know. Rhea says, where are you from, John? Born and raised here. My family's from Iran. E3 skilled worker processing faster. EB3 skilled. I don't talk about timelines. User 8 says, can I F1 visa marry U.S. citizen and file their case? We do that all the time. Student visa holders. That's our primary case type. If student visa holders or J1s, but primary students who marry and marry U.S. citizens, file for green card. We do those cases every day. But we got to make sure your case is good. So schedule a consultation, jqqlaw.com/contact, place to go. And also download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Let's see. Babylon baby Ronald says, hello, John. If a spouse of a green card holder is here in the U.S. on a tourist visa and has a pending I-130, can he adjust status over 9 days? He's not out of status yet. If your case is current and it doesn't look like you did immigrant intent fraud or something like that, it's possible, but I need to like review your case individually with you. But it's most likely possible. Hamid says, can I travel Advanced Pro? I already answered that. Hi, Afghan boy says, I came through parole 2 months ago. When can I apply for asylum? You can apply for asylum anytime you like. Within a year of coming. Leslie said, joint bank account or joint tax filing, which one is stronger evidence? They're more the better. It's not and or, it just depends on the total facts of your case and what the whole picture looks like. Sandy, what valid reasons would I need to have to leave the U.S.? Not to leave the U.S. Not to not have to leave the U.S. There's not valid reasons. You just got to fit within a program, really. Thank you, Sandy, for the gifts and the rose. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see what's going on. Some other questions. Wow, that was a run. We're going fast on these questions. Thank you so much. Hopefully, you got the answers. We're not getting repeat questions. So we do it faster. People post their question, get the answer faster, and it's a good situation. I know I talk really fast. People have complained about that. I got an email the other day saying I talk way too fast. Maybe watch the recording of this and kind of slow it down. But you know, I'm excited. I love talking about immigration law, and I'm just a fast talker because I want to get all the information out, help as many people as I can. But if you're doing a marriage case, the best thing to do is to download our Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide first at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And that way you can get like really good information before you schedule a consultation. So you have like hardcore questions, not the basics, level 1, level 2, 3, 4 questions, because you already know the basics. And the guide kind of helps you travel through it to figure out what's going on and really guide you. Peruvian food guy says, people protected by Child Status Protection Act need a waiver if they have to do consular processing. The waiver is separate. Waiver is like if you have other issues, but if you've properly complete the Child Status Protection Act. I'm going to do a video on that next week, a long video on YouTube. Then just doing it is that. A waiver is needed if you have inadmissibility issues. Kiki says, asks, married U.S. citizen here in USA, I-130 approved 2 months ago, I-45 still pending. Is that normal? Yeah, that happens. M says, initially file for I-130 for spouse overseas. Will USCIS recall the case from NBC if I submit I-485? No, they don't. They probably will internally do it. They don't notify you, but we just file for adjustment of status in those cases anyways, then notify the NBC, usually after the green card is approved. But you want to keep the NBC case alive by contacting them once a year to avoid them terminating the case by accident. John, is it bad if my girlfriend visits me in the U.S. while the K-1 is in the process? She lives in Spain. It's not bad. They could hassle them at the airport and accuse them of immigrant intent. It doesn't usually happen, but that's a valid fear. Shelly says, came through tourist visa, overstayed, married U.S. citizen. Can I adjust your green card? I can't say, Shelly, individually you can't because I don't know more about your background, but that fact pattern generally, as long as you enter lawfully, married U.S. citizen, does allow you to adjust status, but there's other criteria that have to be satisfied. Check out our guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. We handle your case. Our primary case are people like yourself who marry U.S. citizens. That's what 90% of what we do nowadays. They'll love to help, Shelly. Somebody says, any updates for Islamabad Embassy? Spouse interview stuck in embassy? Yeah, it's terrible. No updates, just bad as always for getting an interview at Islamabad. Skilled worker visa, H-1B or HB2? We don't do skilled worker visas anyway, so I don't really want to talk about that. Hi, I'm from Germany. Priority date. You got to check the visa bulletin to see what's going on. Then it's up to the embassy what they want to do in your case. So when it comes to visa bulletin timelines, that's up to the embassy. I'm up to the Department of State, so I can't really guide on that. M says, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Great questions. A lot of our marriage green card case questions. I guess I'm doing more videos on marriage green cards. People are coming finding us through that. But yeah, that we love helping couples marry U.S. citizens, green card holders. You know, here on student visas, F1, J1, adjusting status, getting J1 waivers, or doing consular processing, dealing with the embassy, the National Visa Center. This is stuff we do all day from all countries: Iran, Pakistan, India, Egypt, Mexico, Brazil, China, Russia. We got clients all over the place: Australia, Canada, all over the place. We love helping them. It's really good. Azim, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Drip says, I filed my immigration paperwork after I got married to a U.S. citizen. Can I leave my J1 visa because I filed my paperwork? So after you file your paperwork, you no longer need to maintain status per se. You just got to make sure you're not subject to a J1 home residency requirement. That can be a big mess for you. But generally, you don't need to maintain status. It's better to do it to have some backup. But just in case your case falls apart, you have some backup to fall on. How long are I-111 visas taken to Islamabad? Forever, probably a year or two to get an interview. And after the interview, they might get stuck in administrative processing, which will be even longer. So we got about a minute time left. If you have some final questions, please let me know. I do recommend downloading our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, where we go into the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. And then better yet, schedule a private consultation with me, jqqlaw.com/contact. For marriage cases, we do discount my consultation fee because we love doing marriage cases. It's a chunk off. I think how much is that? It's like 33% off for marriage cases. Shifo says, I had an interview at the embassy. I need an I-61 waiver. Sorry to hear that, but the officer never asked for it. Can I still file it? It depends on what the reason for the I-61 is. Sometimes you need a paper from the officer to give permission to do it. Sometimes you don't. We got to see what's going on there. You're welcome, UK. Pre-concept husband is a permanent resident, married to me, U.S. citizen. He was arrested 20 years ago, not found guilty. That's too deep. We got to sit and see what's going on in that case. And 1 to 2 last questions. Ash says, we have taken action for your case. Email, but no update. What could it be? Go to myuss.gov, see what's there. I don't know. You'll probably get a letter in the mail. Government's really unreliable. Shelly, came through border, applied asylum, husband's in the military. How can I get a green card? If you don't have other bans, you do parole in place. If you haven't been admitted as an arriving alien, and you do adjustment status, Shelly, schedule a consultation. If your husband is active duty military, we do free consults. Just send evidence that he's active duty, and we'll have a group discussion to fill in right there. We do free consultations for military members. That's our, giving back to. The engineer says, what do they check on a green card application? Background is having traffic tickets an issue. Typically, traffic tickets are not an issue for a green card case, but if you have like 10 of them and you're like a crazy driver, just like doing stuff, then that could be problematic on discretion. But typically, we do admit to traffic tickets, but it's usually not a problem. Again, depends. I had one guy have like 15 tickets, and I'm like, you might have problems, and he got angry at me. He's like, no, it's just tickets. I'm from Canada. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And so we didn't work with them, but that's that. Nyop says, got a K-1 visa denied for my 10-year domestic assault. Oof. You have a better chance of spousal visa. I got to talk with you in private. K-1s are more sensitive about these kind of arrest stuff than the marriage cases are. So that's why, again, another reason why if you had consulted with me, I would have told you, hey, don't even bother the K-1. You wasted time and money on that because that's another reason why K-1s are not good. Gabby says, if I witness a crime, most called to court will look bad on my case. Depends on you're just a witness, doesn't matter, but it depends on what was actually happening. We got to get more information. Okay, last two questions. Imran, is there any way I can get my family visa if my wife doesn't have a job in the U.S. but she is a citizen? You need a joint sponsor. That's probably what's going to happen. The engineer, my husband had 13 tickets and I got my green card. So it doesn't matter if your husband has them, the U.S. citizen, it's a foreign national. That's that issue. Myra says, I have a friend from Ethiopia on August 10th. Is he qualified for TPS? I'm not tracking TPS right now, so I'm not sure if they announced Ethiopia or not. I don't have any Ethiopian clients, so I'm not tracking TPS on that. Can a removal proceeding be removed? I don't know what that means. MH, regarding the simple assault case, I was not handcuffed. I was free to leave. I was voluntary spoke. So if you think that was voluntary talking with them, then that's that. Astrat says, I got approved I-2 for August 14th. Still need a welcome letter, so I have to call them. Yeah, call them. We're having issues with the USCIS not sending cases over to the National Visa Center, so that's an annoying part. MH says, but during the interview, I became upset and argued with them. However, no arrest. I can't give you individual guidance, MH, on what you should do on your application. I'm not your lawyer. It's just a general forum to talk about stuff. So that's as much as I can say here. And one more question. Thanks, JQ. You're welcome. I'm losing my voice. And perfect timing to end the show. I guess we'll leave it as that. Sorry. Can expedited removal be removed, sir? It's very hard to have that. Mari says, please tell us more about the K1 visa. I just did a video about that, Mari. If you go to my TikTok, the most recent one, I have a 3-minute video about the K1 visa, breaking it down for you right there. It's the most recent video I did on my TikTok account, Mari. So just go to my personal page. You'll see it. All right, everyone. God bless. Be safe. I'll see you all next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I appreciate everybody. jqklaw.com, jqklaw.com/contact to schedule a consult. Bye-bye.